It wasn't even a security measure by Whisper of Wirram. It was simply an obsession that the warlock had, keeping snakes all around him, connecting them to his magic and making himself like them. It was gross, and yet it was all Mater Inferni's fault. She had made the man into the soulless creature that he was. Disgusted, but unafraid of the deadly snake coiling around her foot or the many slithering around the floor, Mater Inferni simply kicked the snake across the room. Then she stepped over the others in her path, making her way to a bookshelf and desk. The mother of witches couldn't die from a snake bite. She couldn't be thrown in front of a bus and run over and be killed. She couldn't be murdered by any traditional means like poison, a gun, or even a sword. But there must be a way for her to die, and she had to figure it out and get ahead of it. Opening one of the many dusty books on the shelf, Mater Inferni scanned its contents. Its pages were worn and crinkled, like Whisper of Wirram had read through it several times. She glanced at the title, and then the spines of the dozens of other books on the shelf, narrowing her eyes at once. "You little traitor," the mother of witches said through clenched teeth. Most might not see the significance, but it was clear to her now, especially after sensing that the warlock was lying to her and hiding something. The book's subjects were confined to the history and forbidden spells of witchcraft and dark magic. Some of the titles were Rituals of the Ancients, Conjurations Beyond Time, Veils of Protection and Advanced Defensive Magics, and the Arcanum of Shadows, a compendium of forbidden spells. Yes, witches and warlocks liked black magic and breaking rules. However, this looked like the study material of someone trying to overthrow the monarchy. The collection was based around Whisper of Wirram's specialty of creating artifacts, which was very suspicious. Taking another book off the shelf, Mater Inferni allowed her instinct to guide her. This book was Elemental Command and How to Master the Masters. She flipped it open until it fell to a page that was bookmarked. She found Whisper of Wirram's handwriting in the margin of a page. It was a section about taking down an original, like Mater Inferni, the very first witch, the mother of them all and creator. The scribbling on the side of the page made her eyes widen. It was Whisper of Wirram's handwriting, and it read, "Two natural witches, bonded together, have the power to take down M.I." She didn't have to wonder what M.I. referred to. It was her. Also, she knew the two people in the world who were considered natural witches, the halflings. But bonded? What did that mean? The warlock whom Mater Inferni thought was once loyal and devoted to her and the Sovereign Shadows Coven had been secretly plotting. Had he been trying to figure out how to overpower the matriarch of witches? It sure seemed that he had been attempting to determine how. She couldn't convince herself that he was protecting her by getting ahead and proactively figuring out what her weakness was. If that were the case, he would have told her something. But he never did. And his research looked to be old based on the faded pencil marks in the books. She continued to read, flipped through pages. And then she found another chapter where Whisper of Wirram had made notes. This one made her eyes narrow with sudden rage, then confusion, then the ultimate betrayal. It felt like she'd swallowed rocks and been forced to digest them, making her being feel heavy and wrong. Whisper of Wirram had written, "M.I. doesn't take our souls with her if she dies in a certain way, by the hands of the bonded, natural witches. We are released and given a second chance. But how do they kill her? What's the certain way?" She snapped the book shut. This was what he'd been working on? He had been close by her side, but secretly trying to figure out how to free himself from her. After everything that she'd done for him, after everything she'd done for every witch and warlock. But his last question was a good one, and it had been why he hadn't acted. He knew who the natural witches were. The halflings. And the bonding, well, that could be figured out.